The screen door slammed. I stood on the porch, coffee in hand. Sun climbing over the pines. 35 years. 12-hour shifts. Waking at 4 in the morning. And now this. This was mine. The phone rang inside. I didn't move. I let it ring. The only people who called were telemarketers and my son. My son only called when he needed something. That was the way it had been since he turned 16. The phone stopped. Then it started again. I walked inside. Picked it up. Hello, Dad. Derek. My son. His voice had that edge. The edge he used when he'd already made up his mind. Yeah. Karen's mom needs a place to stay. I leaned against the counter. What happened to her place? She sold it. Moving closer to us. But we don't have the room. Your cabin is big. Too big for you alone. You could move into the basement. Fix it up nice. TV. Couch. It's basically an apartment. I let those words sit in the air between us. Dad, I'm here. It's temporary. Few months. She gets the main floor. You get the basement. Makes sense. I thought about the basement. Concrete walls. Low ceiling. Cold floor even in summer. Water heater rattling. Musty smell that never went away. You want me to move into the basement? I said, temporary, Dad. Just a few months. I heard Karen in the background. Tell him we'll help move his stuff. Derek repeated it like an offer I couldn't refuse. I set down my coffee. I need to think about it. Dad, what's to think about? Family helps family. That's what you taught me. He was right. I had taught him that. When he was a boy, I taught him family comes first. You show up for your people. You give until it hurts. Then give a little more. I spent 35 years giving. Braces. College tuition. A car at 16. Down payment on his first house. Wedding money. Money when Karen lost her job. Money when they couldn't make the mortgage. I gave and gave and gave. Every time he took. Now he wanted the cabin. No, not the cabin. He wanted the cabin for his mother-in-law. That was worse. He wasn't even asking for himself. He was asking me to shrink. To move into a basement. So someone who never worked a day of my life could have my view. My dock. My morning coffee on the porch. Dad, you still there? Yeah. Can I tell Karen you're okay with it? She's really stressed. Her mom's got nowhere to go. I heard the water outside the window. The wind in the pines. My own breathing. Slow and steady. Like I learned all those years on the factory floor. Machines screaming. Stay calm or get crushed. Let me think about it, I said. I'll call you back. Derek, what's he saying? Karen's voice. Hi. Thin. He says he needs to think about it. Think about what it's not complicated. I hung up. I stood there a long moment. Then I walked to the window. Looked out at the lake. Blue heron gone. Water still. Sun bright. Something cold settled in my chest. Not anger. I knew anger. Worked with men who couldn't control it. Threw tools. Punched walls. Screamed at their wives. That wasn't me. Control kept you alive in a factory. Control kept you employed. Control kept your marriage together when money was tight and kids were crying and everything felt like falling apart. This wasn't anger, this was understanding. My son had become a stranger. He didn't see a man anymore. He saw a resource. A basement. A place to put someone else's mother. I didn't argue. I didn't shout. I didn't say no. I made a plan. Went to the bedroom. Opened the closet. Safe in the back under old sweaters. Spun the dial. Pulled open the heavy door. Took out the envelope I'd kept there for 3 years. Inside, the deed. Not just a deed. A quitclaim deed. Already signed. Already notarized. Did it the week after I bought the place. Did it because I knew my son. Knew he didn't have patience. Knew he was raised by a father who worked too hard. Wasn't home enough. Thought money could make up for time. Did it because I knew someday, somehow, he'd try to take what wasn't his. I looked at the name on the deed. Not mine. Not Derek's. Someone else's. Put the envelope back. Locked it. Made fresh coffee. Sat on the porch. Waited. 3 days later, they showed up. Heard the car before I saw it. Gravel crunching. Car door slamming. Karen's voice, high and sharp, calling directions. Derek's voice, lower, telling her to calm down. Front door opening. No knock. No call. They walked into my cabin like they owned it. I was at the kitchen table. Coffee. Local newspaper. Knew they were coming. Saw Derek's truck 2 hours ago. Watched them unload luggage and boxes. Karen shouting orders. Derek carrying things. Silent. Obedient. Dad, Derek said. We're here. I can see that. Karen stepped past him. Eyes scanning the room. Thin woman. Sharp features. Hair too blonde. Expensive jeans. Jacket probably cost more than my first car. looked around and nodded like she was appraising. Nice place, she said. Really nice. Thank you. Mom's going to love it. She needs the light. Basement was too dark at our place. Said it like settled fact. Like I'd already agreed. I took a sip of my coffee. I haven't said yes to anything. Derek's face tightened. Tall man. Built like I used to be. Softer now. My eyes. His mother's jaw. Polo shirt. Khakis. Like he dressed for a business meeting. Dad, we talked about this. It's temporary. You talked. I listened. Not the same. Karen put her hands on her hips. Derek, I thought you said he was okay with this. He said he'd think about it. And he's had 3 days. I set down the newspaper. I need to tell you something. I'm not moving into the basement. Silence. Derek looked at Karen. Karen looked at Derek. Derek turned to me. Softer now. Dad, we've already moved her stuff. No other place. Sold her house. She's on her way. Few hours. That's not my problem. Dad, you heard me. Karen stepped forward, trying to keep calm. But I heard the edge underneath. We're not asking you to leave. We're asking you to be flexible. Family. What families do. Take care of each other. Whose family? I said. She's your mother. Not mine. No obligation. Karen's face went red. That's cold. My mother's been through a lot. Father left her. Health problems. You're going to sit there and tell me you won't help. I looked at her. I've helped plenty. Helped Derek his whole life. Helped you. Helped your family. Wedding money. Down payment. Job money. Car money. How many times I helped you? Karen opened her mouth. Nothing came out. And now, I went on. You want me to move into the basement of my own house. So your mother can have my bedroom. The place I worked 35 years for. You want me to shrink. Be less. So she can have more. Derek's voice was quiet. She's not my responsibility. Your wife's mother. That makes her your responsibility. You figure it out. I thought you believed in family. Karen said, I do. That's why I'm saying no. She stared at me. What are you talking about? I'm saying no because I'm family. Family doesn't ask family to give up their home. Family doesn't ask family to live in a basement. Family doesn't take and take until there's nothing left. Derek shook his head. Dad, you're being dramatic. Not taking anything. Just rearranging. I'm not being dramatic. I'm being honest. You've been taking from me your whole life. Every time you needed something, I gave it. Didn't complain. Didn't ask for anything back. But this is where I draw the line. Where? Derek said. What line? The line at my front door. You don't come into my house and tell me where to live. Quiet. Karen looked at Derek. Derek looked at me. I could see wheels turning. Trying to find a way to win. Been doing it since he was a teenager. Learned how to negotiate. Learned how to find the soft spot. Pushed. I'll help you move, I said. I'll help find a place. But she's not staying here. Dad, come on. We've got nowhere to go. That's not my problem. Derek, say something, Karen snapped. Derek ran a hand through his hair. Getting older. Gray at his temples. 38. Tired. Not factory tired. Not the tired I felt every night for 3 decades. Tired like he'd been running and hadn't stopped. And I felt something. Not pity. Not anger. Something older. Remembered the boy who sat on my lap. Asked about my day. Held my hand when his mother got sick. The boy who was kind. Good. Lost somewhere along the way. But I also remembered the man standing in front of me. The man who saw an obstacle. The man who saw a basement. Dad, please, Derek said. Just give us a chance. Let her stay a few weeks. We'll figure something out. I promise. Promises. You've made a lot of promises. I mean it this time. You always mean it. Karen's phone buzzed. She looked. Then Derek. Mom's 10 minutes out. Derek's face tightened. Dad, she can't stay here. What are we supposed to do? I don't know. Your problem. Derek stepped closer. Voice lower. Harder. Dad, I don't want to do this, but I will. I'm going down to the county office. Get a copy of the deed. See if it's in your name. If it is, I'll find a way to make this happen. Because this is my family. My wife. My mother-in-law. You're going to help me. I looked at him. You think that's going to work? I think I don't have a choice. Neither do I. He turned. Walked out. Karen followed. Arguing in the driveway. Karen's voice rising and falling. Derek's low and even. Car door slammed. Another slammed. They drove away. I sat at the kitchen table. Finished my coffee. Went to the safe. Opened it. Took out the envelope. Made one phone call. The woman who walked into my cabin 2 hours later was not what I expected. She was small, maybe 5 feet nothing, with silver hair cut short and practical glasses. She wore a floral blouse and comfortable shoes. She walked with a slight limp, like one of her hips bothered her. She carried a small overnight bag and a plant. "Hello," she said. "You must be Carl." I stood up. "You must be Barbara, Karen's mother." "Yes." She set down her bag and her plant and looked around the cabin. "It's beautiful. I can see why Karen wanted to stay here." "She wanted to stay here." I didn't say she could. Barbara nodded slowly. "I know. Derek told me. Karen told me. They're both very upset. I imagine they are." She walked to the window and looked out at the lake. The afternoon light was golden, catching the surface of the water. The loons were out again, calling to each other. "You have a lovely home, Carl. I can understand why you don't want to give it up." She turned and looked at me. "I also understand why my daughter thinks you should. She's protective of me. She always has been." I gestured to the kitchen table. "Would you like to sit? Thank you." She sat down, carefully, like she was managing pain. "My hip. It's not what it used to be." "I'm sorry to hear that." She waved a hand. "It's the price of getting old. We all pay it sooner or later." I poured 2 cups of coffee and brought them to the table. She took hers and held it in both hands, warming her palms. She didn't drink. "Karen tells me you're asking me to stay somewhere else," she said. "I am." "Derek says you're being unreasonable." "Derek would." She laughed. It was a quiet laugh, not mean. "I know my son-in-law. He has a talent for getting what he wants. He's like a salesman. You don't notice you're being sold until you've already signed the papers." I sat down across from her. "He gets that from my side of the family. His grandfather was a salesman, could sell ice to Eskimos. His mother was more practical, I imagine." "Yes, she was." Barbara was quiet for a moment. "You miss her." "I miss her every day." "I understand. My husband left me. But I don't miss him. That's a different kind of loss. You miss someone who was good to you. I miss what I thought I had." I didn't know what to say to that. So I said nothing. "Here's what I know," she said. "My daughter is embarrassed. She sold my house without telling me. She thought she was doing the right thing. She thought she could bring me here and that you would just go along with it. Go along with it. She has a habit of thinking people will do what she wants. She gets it from her father. He was a charmer, could talk anyone into anything. But he was also a liar. He lied to me for 20 years before I finally left. I'm sorry. Don't be. I'm better off without him. But I do worry about Karen. She married a man who reminds her of her father. She doesn't see it. But I do. I thought about that. I thought about Derek and the way he'd learned to negotiate with me, the way he'd learned to push. I thought about the promises he'd made and broken. I thought about the way he'd looked at me in the kitchen like I was an obstacle. "You think Derek lied to her?" I said. "I think Derek told her what she wanted to hear. He told her you would agree. He told her it would be easy. He told her he had a plan. And she believed him because she wanted to. And now here we are." She set down her coffee. "I'm not going to stay here, Carl. I'm not going to stay in a place where I'm not wanted. You haven't been here long enough to know if you're wanted." She smiled. "I know. I've been unwanted before. I know the feeling. The way people look at you. The way they tense up when you walk in the room. I don't want to be that person." "You're not that person." I'm a stranger who showed up at your door with my daughter and son-in-law, expecting you to give up your home. That's the definition of that person." I didn't have an answer for that. "I can see you have a good heart," she said. "I can see why your wife married you. You're honest. You're direct. You're not cruel. That's more than I can say for most people." "Thank you. But you're also stubborn. That's not a bad thing. It's kept you alive. It's kept you working for 35 years. It's kept you from giving up." She looked at me. "It's also kept you from being happy." I thought about that. "I'm happy. You have this beautiful cabin and no one to share it with. You have a son who treats you like a bank. You have a daughter-in-law who doesn't respect you. And you sit here alone, drinking coffee and watching the lake. That's not happiness. That's endurance. Maybe endurance is my kind of happiness." She nodded slowly. "Maybe it is. But it doesn't have to be." Karen and Derek came back an hour later. They were carrying more bags and boxes, and they looked tired. Karen's hair was disheveled. Derek's shirt was untucked. They saw Barbara sitting at the table with me, drinking coffee, and they stopped. "Mom," Karen said, "what are you doing, having coffee with your father-in-law? Did he ask you to leave because he's not going to?" "He didn't ask me anything. We were just talking." Barbara stood up. "I'm not staying here." Karen blinked. "What? Your father-in-law has been very kind, but this is his home. He spent 35 years earning it. He spent his pension on it. And I'm not going to take that away from him." But Mom, don't argue with me, Karen. I've made up my mind. Derek stepped forward. Barbara, we can figure this out. We can find a place. I can talk to Dad. Your father and I have already talked. He's not moving to the basement. She looked at Derek with those clear, steady eyes. And you shouldn't have asked him to. But we had no choice. We had nowhere else to go. You had a choice. You just didn't like the other options. Barbara picked up her overnight bag. There's a motel in town. I'll stay there tonight. Tomorrow, I'll start looking for an apartment. Karen's face crumpled. Mom, you can't stay in a motel. It's not safe. It's not. It's safe enough. I've stayed in worse places. Mom, please. Just let me talk to Carl. Let me? Karen. Barbara's voice was calm, firm. I raised you to be strong. I raised you to take care of yourself. And I raised you to respect other people's boundaries. You're not doing that right now. You need to stop. Karen's mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. Nothing came out. Barbara turned to me. Carl, thank you for the coffee. And for the conversation. I appreciate your honesty. She walked toward the door. Then she stopped. One more thing. That call you made. I know you made one. I saw you on the porch. You looked like a man who'd just made a decision. I didn't say anything. I hope it works out for you, she said. Whatever it is. Then she left, walked out the door and down the gravel drive, limping slightly, carrying her small bag and her plant. Karen ran after her. Derek stayed. He stood in my kitchen, hands on his hips, staring at the floor. When he looked up, his eyes were red. Not crying. Just red. Like he hadn't slept. She's not coming back. Is she? He said. I don't know. You could have let her stay. One night. Just one night. And you couldn't even do that. Could have. Didn't. He shook his head. You know what? Dad, I don't even know who you are anymore. You used to be the guy who helped everyone. You used to be the guy who showed up. Remember when Mom got sick, you didn't sleep for 3 days. You stayed right there. You held her hand. You didn't leave. That's who I thought you were. That was different. How is it different? Your mother was my wife. She was family. She never asked me to give up anything. She never asked me to move to a basement. Derek laughed. It was bitter. Hollow. So that's what this is about. You think I'm using you. You think I just want your stuff. I think you want my cabin. I don't want your cabin. I want a place for Karen's mom. That's all. One person. One old lady. You can't give her a few months, a few weeks. You can't even give her one night. No. Why are you so set on this? You've got 3 bedrooms up here. You've got a loft. You've got more space than you'll ever use. She could have 1 room. Just 1. It's not about the room. Then what is it about? I stood up, walked to the window, looked at the lake. The sun was lower now, turning the water orange and gold. The loons had gone quiet. It's about the way you asked, I said. It's about the fact that you didn't ask. You told. You came here with your wife and your plan, and you told me what was going to happen. You didn't say, Dad, can we talk about something? You said, you can move to the basement. Like it was already decided. Because I thought you'd say yes. You thought I'd say yes because I always say yes. Pretty much. Right. That's the problem. I turned to face him. I always say yes. I always give. I always sacrifice. And you always take. Every time. Your whole life. You take and you take and you take, and you never ask yourself if I've got anything left to give. Derek's jaw tightened. That's not fair. Not fair. I walked toward him. Let me tell you about not fair. Not fair is getting up at 4 in the morning for 35 years. Not fair is missing your son's baseball games because you're on the 2nd shift. Not fair is losing your wife before you can retire and share the one thing you've been saving for your whole life. That's not fair. But I did it. I did it all. Because I thought it would mean something. I thought it would buy me peace. I thought it would buy me respect. I thought it would buy me a son who would see me as something more than a checkbook. Derek was quiet. His hands were at his sides. His shoulders were slumped. You want my cabin, I said. Fine. But you're not going to get it the way you planned. You're not going to walk in here and take it. You're not going to move me to a basement. Because this cabin is not mine to give. Derek's head snapped up. What? I said this cabin is not mine. I put it in someone else's name. The week after I bought it. Whose name? Who did you put it in? I looked at him. You want to know? Go to the county office. Look it up. I'm sure you'll find it. His face was pale now. Dad, what are you talking about? Why would you do that? Why would you put your cabin in someone else's name? Because I knew you'd do something like this. I knew you'd come for it. Maybe not today. Maybe not next year. But eventually. You'd need something, and you'd come, and you'd ask, and you'd push, and you'd expect me to fold. So I made sure you couldn't. You made sure I couldn't get my mother-in-law a place to live. You made sure you couldn't take my home. That's what you're really here for, Derek. Not to help Barbara. To take. You're here because you thought you could walk in, tell me what to do, and I'd do it. But I'm not doing it. Not this time. Derek stepped back. He looked like he'd been hit. You're telling me I can't even get her a room for one night. I'm telling you that cabin belongs to someone else. You want to let her stay, you'll have to ask that person. I'm just a renter now. A renter, you rent your own cabin. I don't rent. I have a life estate. I live here until I die. Then it goes to the person on the deed. Derek's mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. Who is it? Dad, who's on the deed? You know who. I don't. Tell me. It's your mother. The silence that followed was thick. Heavy. Like something had been dropped into the room, and neither of us knew how to pick it up. Mom, Derek said. Mom is on the deed. Your mother is on the deed. I put it there because I knew she'd take care of it. I knew she'd protect it. And she does. Even now. But Mom is dead. I know. How is she on the deed? It's a trust. I put it in her name, with me as the life tenant. When I die, it goes to the trust. And the trust goes to. I stopped. It's not important. Who does it go to? To someone who needs it more than you do. Derek's face was red now. I don't believe this. I don't believe you'd do this. You don't believe I'd protect myself. But you believe I'd give you everything. Funny how that works. He walked toward the door. Then he stopped. Turned around. You know what, Dad, you're right. I've been taking. My whole life. I've been taking because you've been giving. You never said no. Not once. Not ever. So I thought it was okay. I thought that's what you wanted. To help. It was. But it's not anymore. Why, what changed? I changed. I stopped. I realized I was running out of things to give. And you were never going to stop asking. Derek stared at me. So this is it, this is how it ends, you and me? I don't know. That's up to you. He walked out. The door slammed behind him. I heard his truck start. I heard the gravel crunch. And then I heard nothing but the wind and the water. I sat down at the kitchen table. The coffee was cold. The sun was almost gone. The lake was dark. I thought about Barbara. I thought about what she said. Endurance isn't happiness. I thought about my wife. I thought about the trust. I thought about the deed and the name on it. I thought about Derek. And I wondered if he'd ever come back. I sat alone in the dark for a long time. The cabin settled around me. The water heater clicked. The refrigerator hummed. Outside, the lake went quiet. I didn't turn on any lights. I just sat there, at the kitchen table, staring at the window, staring at nothing. My phone buzzed. I looked at it. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. It buzzed again. Same number. I picked it up. Hello, Carl, a woman's voice. Not Karen. Not Barbara. Someone else. This is Linda from the county clerk's office. You asked me to let you know if anyone came in asking about the deed to your property. I sat up straighter. Someone came in, your son. Derek. He came in about an hour ago. He was asking questions. Wanted to see the recorded deed. And I told him it was a trust document. I told him the property was held in the trust. I didn't give him any details beyond that. But he was upset. Upset, how angry. He raised his voice. Said his father had lied to him. Said he was going to contest it. She paused. I thought you should know. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate it. Carl, do you want me to file a notice of dispute in case he tries anything? I thought about it. Not yet. But keep an eye on it. If he comes back, let me know. Will do. I hung up. Stared at the phone. So Derek had gone to the county office. Just like he said he would. He'd followed through. He'd pushed up. That meant something. It meant he wasn't backing down. It meant he'd do whatever it took. I walked to the window. The moon was up. Full and white, reflecting off the water. The dock was silver in the moonlight. The pines were dark shapes against the sky. I thought about Barbara. About the way she'd walked out. About what she said. Endurance isn't happiness. And maybe she was right. I went to bed. I didn't sleep. The next morning, I woke up early. Same as always. For in the morning, the habit was too deep to break. I made coffee. I sat on the porch. I watched the sun come up. And I waited. Derek showed up at 9. Alone. No Karen. No Barbara. Just him. He parked his truck in the driveway and walked to the porch. His face was pale. His eyes were red. I stayed in my chair. You're up early. I didn't sleep. Neither did I. He sat down on the porch steps. He didn't look at me. He looked at the lake. I went to the county office, he said. Just like I said I would. I know. Linda called me. He nodded slowly. Of course she did. You've got people everywhere. I've got one person. She keeps an eye on things. He was quiet for a long moment. I couldn't find the deed. Not the way I expected. I found the trust. I found your name as the life tenant. And I found my mother's name as the grantor. She's the grantor. Yes. Dad. He turned to look at me. His voice was rough. How is she the grantor? She's been dead for 3 years. You bought this place after she died. How is her name on a deed from after she died? I took a sip of my coffee. You know what a trust is? Of course I know what a trust is. Then you know I can put anyone's name on it. Even someone who's passed. I set it up the week after she died. The lawyer did the paperwork. I put her name on it because I wanted her to be part of it. Because this place was always for her. She was the one who wanted it. Not me. Derek stared at me. You did all that while you were still grieving. I did all that because I knew I wouldn't be around forever. I knew that someday, someone would come looking for this place. And I wanted to make sure it went where it belonged. Where it belonged, Dad. You bought it with your pension. You worked 35 years for it. It belongs to you. Legally, it belongs to the trust. The trust belongs to your mother. And your mother belongs to... I stopped. To who? Derek said. Who does my mother belong to? I looked at him. She belongs to the ground. She's buried in it. And she's not coming back. But the trust goes to someone who needs it. Someone who's been waiting for something like this her whole life. Derek stood up. His hands were shaking. Who? Dad, just tell me who. I'm not telling you. Why? What's the big secret? Because I don't want you to go after her. I don't want you to pressure her. I don't want you to show up at her door and try to talk her out of it. Derek laughed. It was hollow. You think I'd do that? You think I'd harass someone over a cabin? I think you'd do whatever you needed to do to get what you wanted. I've watched you do it your whole life. You don't stop. You don't take no for an answer. You push, and push, and push, until people give in just to make you stop. He opened his mouth, then closed it, then sat back down. I'm sorry, he said. I didn't know I did that. You did. You always have. Ever since you were a kid. Remember when you wanted that bike, the red one you begged me for 3 months? Every day? Every single day? You didn't stop until I bought it. And then you rode it twice and left it in the garage. That was different. I was a kid. You were a kid. But you're a grown man now. And you're still doing it. You just changed what you're asking for. Derek was quiet. He stared at his hands. He didn't say anything. Look, I said. I'm not trying to punish you. I'm not trying to keep anything from you. But you need to hear this. You've spent your whole life taking. And I've spent my whole life giving. And somewhere along the way, we lost each other. He looked up. His eyes were wet. I didn't know, Dad. I really didn't know. I thought you were okay with it. I thought you wanted to help. I didn't want to help. But there's a difference between wanting to help and wanting to be used. And I've been used. For a long time. By me. By you. He wiped his face with the back of his hand. Can I fix it? Can I make it right? I don't know. I think that's up to you. He stood up again. This time his shoulders were straighter. He took a deep breath. Okay, he said. I'm going to go find her. I'm going to go find Barbara, and I'm going to help her find a place to stay. And I'm going to tell Karen to stop. I'm going to tell her we can't stay here. We can't keep asking you for things. Where are you going to go? I don't know. We'll figure it out. That's what we should have done in the first place. He turned to walk away. Then he stopped. Dad, he said. That person, the one you put the trust in. Is it someone I know? I looked at him. For a long moment, I didn't answer. Did you ever know your mother's sister, Aunt Ruth? Derek's face went blank. Aunt Ruth, the one who lived in the nursing home, the one you visited every month, that's her. She died, Dad. She died 5 years ago. I know she did. Then how? She had a daughter. A daughter no one knew about. She gave her up when she was young. She never talked about it. The only person who knew was your mother. And your mother told me. I paused. That daughter has been looking for a home her whole life. She's never had one. She's been in and out of shelters. She's got 2 kids. She's been working 3 jobs. And she doesn't even know who her mother was. Derek's mouth fell open. You're giving the cabin to a stranger, to someone you've never met. I've met her. I met her last year. She came looking for answers. She found me instead. And I told her about her mother. I told her about the trust. And I told her that when I'm gone, this place is hers. Derek shook his head. That's insane, Dad. That's completely insane. You're giving our family's cabin to a woman you barely know. She's family. She's Ruth's daughter. That makes her your cousin, your mother's niece. And she needs this more than you do. I don't need the cabin. Then why does it matter? Derek didn't answer. He just stood there, staring at me. His face was a mix of confusion and something else. Something I hadn't seen in him in a long time. Shame. I didn't know, he said again. About Ruth. About her daughter. I didn't know any of that. You didn't ask. I didn't think I needed to. That's the problem, Derek. You never thought you needed to ask. You just assumed. You assumed I'd say yes. You assumed I'd agree. You assumed I'd just give you whatever you wanted. And you never thought to ask if maybe I had other plans. He nodded slowly. I see that now. Good. Because I've been waiting a long time for you to see it. He walked toward his truck. Then he turned around one more time. Dad, he said. What's her name, Ruth's daughter? I looked at him. Her name is Grace. Grace. He nodded. Okay, Grace. I'll remember that. He got in his truck and drove away. I stayed on the porch. The sun was higher now. The lake was bright blue. The loons were back. I pulled out my phone. I dialed the number I'd called yesterday. Hello. A woman's voice. Young. Tired. But hopeful. Grace, I said. It's Carl. Your uncle. Oh. Hi. Is everything okay? Everything's fine. I just wanted to tell you something. It's about the cabin. What about it? I spoke with my son this morning. And I just wanted you to know that I'm not changing my mind. When I'm gone, this place is yours. She was quiet for a moment. Are you sure I don't want to take anything from your family? You're not taking anything. I'm giving it to you. Because you deserve it. Because your mother deserved better than she got. And because this is the right thing to do. She was crying now. Quietly. I could hear it in her breathing. Thank you, she said. Thank you so much. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. Just promise me one thing. What? When you get the cabin, don't let anyone take it from you. Not for any reason. It's yours. Keep it safe. I will. I promise. Good. That's all I needed to hear. I hung up. I looked out at the lake. The sun was warm on my face. The wind was soft. The water was calm. And for the first time in a long time, I felt peaceful. 3 days passed. Derek didn't call. Karen didn't call. The cabin was quiet. Too quiet. I spent the days doing what I always did. Fishing off the dock. Drinking coffee on the porch. Reading the newspaper. But my mind wasn't on any of it. I kept thinking about Derek. About the look on his face when I told him about Grace. About the way he'd said her name. Like he was memorizing it. On the 4th morning, my phone rang. It was Derek. Dad, he said. Can I come over alone? Just me. Sure. I'll be there in an hour. He showed up exactly on time. No truck this time. He drove his old sedan, the one he'd had since college. He parked in the driveway and walked to the porch. He was carrying a foldered, morning. I said, morning. He sat down on the steps. Same spot as before. He opened the folder. Inside were papers. Lots of them. What's all that? I asked. The research. I've been looking into Grace. Into Aunt Ruth. Into everything. I didn't say anything. I went to the library, he said. I found old records. Birth certificates. Court documents. I found out where Ruth lived. I found out where she worked. I found out she gave Grace up when she was 17. 17 years old, Dad. She was just a kid. I know. I found out Grace was in foster care for 8 years. Then she aged out. Then she was on the streets. She had her first kid when she was 19. Second when she was 22. She's been fighting her whole life. I know all of this. Derek looked at me. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me any of this? Because it wasn't my story to tell. It was Ruth's. And she didn't want anyone to know. She was ashamed. Yes. Derek closed the folder. I went to see Karen's mom. Barbara. She's in a little apartment now. She found a place a few miles from town. She's doing okay. Karen's helping her settle in. That's good. I told Karen everything. About the trust. About Grace. About why you did it. Did she understand? No. She's still angry. She thinks you're punishing us. She thinks you're trying to teach us a lesson. Derek paused. Maybe you are. But I don't think that's the point. What do you think the point is? He leaned forward. I think the point is that you've been holding this inside you for years. All this pain. All this sadness. About Mom. About Ruth. About me. And you've been waiting for me to see it. But I never did. I was too busy taking. I looked at him. You see it now. I see it now. He stood up. I want to meet her, Dad. I want to meet Grace. Why? Because she's family. She's my cousin. And I've been a terrible person. I've been selfish. I've been entitled. I've been blind. And I think meeting her might help me see things differently. I thought about it. She's not expecting you. She doesn't even know I told you about her. Then let me tell her. Let me reach out. I won't push. I won't pressure her. I just want to meet her. That's all. I studied his face. There was something different about him. Something softer. like the edges had been worn down. Okay, I said. I'll call her. I'll tell her you want to talk. Thank you, Dad. I made the call. Grace was hesitant at first. She'd been hurt too many times. She didn't trust people. But I told her about Derek, about the changes he was making, about how he wanted to know her. She agreed to meet at a diner in town. Neutral ground. Derek drove us there in his sedan. We sat in a booth. I ordered coffee. Derek ordered nothing. He was nervous. I could see it in his hands. They were shaking. Grace walked in 15 minutes later. She was small, thin. Her hair was dark and pulled back in a ponytail. She wore jeans and a jacket that was too big for her. Her eyes were tired but sharp. She looked around the diner until she saw me. Then she walked over. Uncle Carl, she said. She hugged me. It was a quick hug. Awkward. Like she wasn't sure if she was allowed. Grace, I said. This is Derek. Derek stood up. He put out his hand. Grace looked at it for a long moment. Then she shook it. Hi, she said. Hi, Derek said. Thank you for coming. I almost didn't. She sat down across from him. Your dad said you wanted to meet me. I did. I do. He sat back down. His hands were still shaking. I didn't know about you until a few days ago. I didn't know about Aunt Ruth. I didn't know any of it. And I'm sorry. Sorry for what? For not knowing. For being so focused on myself that I never bothered to find out about my own family. Grace was quiet. She looked at me. Then she looked back at Derek. Your dad told me about the cabin, she said. He told me it's going to be mine when he's gone. I don't know what to say about that. It's a lot. It is a lot, Derek said. And I'm not going to lie to you. At first, I was angry. I thought he was giving away something that should have been mine. Or my kids. I thought he was punishing me. Were you angry? I was. But then I started looking into things. I started learning about you. And I realized I was wrong. I was wrong about everything. Grace's eyes narrowed. Why? Because you found out I was a victim, because you felt sorry for me? No. Because I found out you were a survivor. You've been through things I can't even imagine. And you're still standing. You're still fighting. You're still here. That's not pity. That's respect. Grace stared at him. She didn't say anything. I'm not asking for anything, Derek said. I'm not asking for the cabin. I'm not asking for you to like me. I just wanted to meet you. I wanted to see who you are. And I wanted to tell you that you have a cousin now. If you want one. Grace's face didn't change, but her eyes softened. Just a little. I don't know how to do this, she said. I've never had family before. I don't know what I'm supposed to feel. You don't have to feel anything, I said. You don't have to do anything. Just be here. That's enough. She nodded slowly. Then she looked at Derek. Do you have kids, too? A boy and a girl. They're 6 and 8. Are they good kids? They're great kids. They're a handful, but they're great. Grace smiled. It was small, but it was there. Maybe I could meet them sometime. If that's okay. Derek's face lit up. Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. We can do a cookout. Or just hang out at the park. Whatever you want. Grace nodded. Okay, I'd like that. They talked for an hour. About nothing important. About everything important. About Grace's job. About her kids. About Derek's work. About his house. About small things that felt big. I sat and listened. And I watched my son. I watched him lean forward. I watched him ask questions. I watched him listen. Really listen. For the first time in a long time. When we left the diner, Derek hugged Grace goodbye. She was stiff at first, but then she relaxed. Just a little. Thank you, she said to him. For coming. Thank you for letting me. I drove back to the cabin with Derek. We were both quiet. The sun was setting. The sky was orange and pink. Dad, he said. I want to ask you something. Go ahead. After everything that's happened, do you think you could ever forgive me? I looked at him. I already have. Really? You showed up today? You apologized. You reached out to Grace. That's not nothing. That's a start. He nodded slowly. Okay, good. I'll take that. One more thing. I said, what? You need to talk to Karen. She needs to hear this too. He sighed. I know. She's not ready yet. But I'll work on it. I'll get there. I pulled into the driveway. He got out. Then he leaned back in through the window. Dad, he said. Thanks for not giving up on me. I never did. I just stopped letting you walk all over me. He laughed. It was a real laugh. The first one I'd heard from him in years. Good night, Dad. Good night, son. I watched him drive away. Then I went inside. I sat on the porch. And I watched the stars come out over the lake. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I had my son back. 2 weeks later, I got a call from Derek. He sounded different. Lighter. Like something had been lifted off him. Dad, he said, Karen wants to talk to you. Both of us. Together. Can we come over? Sure. When? Tomorrow. If that works. Tomorrow's fine. He paused. She's not angry anymore. I mean, she's still working through it. But she wants to talk. She wants to understand. Then bring her. They showed up the next day. Karen looked different too. Her hair was pulled back. She wasn't wearing makeup. She looked like she hadn't slept much. But she wasn't tense. Not like before. Derek had brought a cooler. Hamburgers. Hot dogs. Potato salad. He set up the grill on the lawn near the dock. Karen helped him. They worked in silence. But it wasn't an angry silence. It was something else. Something careful. I sat on the porch and watched. I didn't offer to help. They needed to do this themselves. When the food was ready, we sat at the picnic table. The lake was calm. The loons were quiet. The sun was warmed. Dad, Derek said. Karen has something she wants to say. Karen put down her hamburger. She looked at me. Her eyes were red. Not from crying. From tiredness. Carl, she said. I was wrong. I didn't say anything. I was wrong about everything. I came here with my plan and my demands, and I didn't think about you once. I didn't ask. I didn't listen. I just assumed. Because I'm used to getting what I want. And I didn't care who got hurt in the process. She paused. I waited. I was raised to believe that family is everything, she said. That you do whatever you have to do for the people you love. But I was also raised to believe that family means blood. That you take care of your own, and everyone else can fend for themselves. That's what your father taught you, yes. She looked down at her hands. He taught me a lot of things. Most of them were wrong. But I never unlearned them until now. I understand. No, you don't. You've been nothing but generous to me. To Derek. To our kids. You've given us money. You've given us time. You've given us everything you had. And the one time you said no, I hated you for it. I thought you were selfish. I thought you were cruel. I thought you were punishing us. Karen, I wasn't. I know. I know you weren't. She looked up. I've been doing a lot of thinking. And I realized I was never angry at you. I was angry at myself. Because I didn't like who I'd become. I'd become someone who takes and never gives back. And I blamed you for making me see it. Derek put his hand on hers. She squeezed it. Carl, I'm not going to ask for anything, she said. I'm not going to ask for the cabin. I'm not going to ask for money. I'm not going to ask for anything at all. I just want to say I'm sorry. And I hope you can forgive me. I looked at her. I thought about all the years of frustration. All the times I'd felt used. All the times I'd bitten my tongue and kept the peace. And I thought about what it meant for her to say these words. Not because she had to. Because she wanted to. I forgive you. I said. She let out a breath. It was shaky. Unsteady. Like she'd been holding it for a long time. Thank you, she said. One thing. I said. You're part of this family. You always have been. But being part of a family doesn't mean you get to take everything. It means you show up. You support. You give back. That's what makes it work. She nodded. I know that now. Good. We ate our hamburgers. The conversation was slow at first. But it picked up. We talked about the kids. About Karen's mother. About the weather. About small things that felt big. And somewhere in the middle of it, I realized something. The tension that had been in the air for weeks was gone. The cabin felt different. Warmer. Like it was alive again. After lunch, Karen walked down to the dock. Derek stayed with me at the table. Dad, he said. I've been thinking about Grace. What about her? She's coming over next week. She wants to meet the kids. She wants to see the cabin. I told her she could. That's fine. He paused. I also told her about the trust. I told her what you did. She said she didn't know what to think. She said it's the first time anyone's ever given her anything without expecting something back. That's sad. It is sad. But it's also true. She's never had anyone look out for her. Not once. And you're the first person who ever did. I thought about that. She deserves more than a cabin. She deserves a life. She's getting one. She's been saving money. She's got a new job. She's getting her life together. He looked at me. You did that, Dad. Not me. You. I just gave her a chance. She did the rest. Still, it matters. He was quiet for a moment. Then he asked the question I'd been waiting for. Dad, when the trust goes to her, does that mean I'll never see this place again? It means it won't be mine to give. But it doesn't mean you can't visit. That's up to Grace. Will you talk to her about it? Ask her if we can still come here sometimes. The kids love the lake. I looked at him. You want my advice? Yeah. Don't ask her for anything. Not yet. Let her get comfortable. Let her feel like it's hers. And when she's ready, she'll offer. He nodded. Okay, I can do that. One more thing. What? You need to show her she's not alone. Not just with the cabin. With everything. She needs family. Real family. Not people who just take. People who show up. He looked at me. Like you showed up for me. Like I showed up for you. He reached across the table and squeezed my arm. It was a small gesture, but it meant everything. Karen came back from the dock. She was smiling. A real smile. Not the sharp one she'd worn before. The water's beautiful, she said. I can't believe I almost ruined this. I can't believe I almost made you leave. But you didn't, I said. You didn't make me leave. And you're not going to. She nodded. No, I'm not. We sat together at the picnic table. The sun was warm. The lake was blue. The loons were calling. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I had my family back. That night, I sat alone on the porch. The stars were out. The moon was bright. The water was still. I thought about everything that had happened. The anger, the hurt, the betrayal, the forgiveness. I thought about Barbara and her words. Endurance isn't happiness. But maybe happiness isn't just one thing. Maybe it's a lot of things. Small moments. Quiet mornings. A phone call from your son. A hug from your daughter-in-law. A chance to give someone a life they never thought they could have. I thought about Grace. I thought about her kids. I thought about the cabin and what it would mean to them. And I thought about my wife. The woman who dreamed of this place. The woman who never got to see it. The woman who'd loved me even when I was too tired to love her back. I hoped she was proud of me. I hoped she could see what I'd done. I hoped she understood why the phone rang inside. I went to answer it. Uncle Carl, Grace's voice. I'm sorry to call so late, but I wanted to tell you something. What is it? I got approved. For the apartment. The one I've been trying to get for months. I got approved. She was crying. Happy tears. I'm going to have a place of my own. Me and the kids. A real home. That's wonderful, Grace. That's really wonderful. I couldn't have done it without you. Without the cabin. Without knowing I had somewhere to go. It gave me hope. It made me believe I could do it. You did it yourself. I just gave you a reason to try. Thank you, Uncle Carl. Thank you for everything. Thank you for being you, Grace. Keep going. Don't stop. I won't. I promise. I hung up. I walked back to the porch. I looked out at the lake. The stars were bright. The water was dark. The world was quiet. And I knew, in that moment, that I'd done the right thing. I'd spent 35 years giving. I'd spent 35 years sacrificing. I'd spent 35 years working for a future I wasn't sure I'd ever see. But tonight, I wasn't thinking about the past. I wasn't thinking about the long hours or the aching knees or the loneliness of the factory floor. I was thinking about Grace. About her kids. About the apartment she was going to fill with love and laughter. I was thinking about Derek. About the man he was becoming. About the father he was learning to be. I was thinking about Karen. About the woman who'd swallowed her pride and said she was wrong. And I was thinking about my wife. About the dream we'd shared. About the cabin she'd never seen, but that she'd made possible. Because she'd loved me. Because she'd believed in me. Because she'd taught me that family isn't about what you take. It's about what you give. The wind came off the lake. Soft and cool. I closed my eyes and breathed it in. Thank you, I said. I wasn't sure who I was talking to. My wife. The lake. The universe. It didn't matter. I did it, Jenny. I built the life you wanted. Not for me. For all of us. I opened my eyes. The stars were still there. Bright and steady. Like they'd always been there. Like they'd never leave. And I knew that no matter what happened next, I was ready for it. Because I'd learned the most important lesson of all. Family isn't about blood. It's about choice. It's about showing up. It's about giving when it's hard. And it's about forgiving when it's even harder. I went inside. I turned off the lights. I lay in bed and listened to the cabin settle around me. The water heater clicked. The refrigerator hummed. The wind whispered through the pines. And for the first time in 35 years, I slept like a man who had nothing to prove that the lake was mine. The cabin was mine. And my family was whole again. That was all I ever wanted. So here's what I've learned. You can work your whole life for something and still have it taken from you. Unless you plan. Unless you protect the things that matter. Unless you remember that giving doesn't mean losing. It means choosing. Every single day. The basement was never an option. Neither was giving up. ***. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to draw a line with someone you love? Have you ever had to protect what was yours? Share your story in the comments. Subscribe for more. And never let anyone make you smaller than you are.